Hi Shipra, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks for asking. Today.
I'm sorry?
I just said thanks for asking.
Yeah. So Prasanna, is it your first time on the PA club? Or have you
Yeah,
been here?
actually, no. This is my first time being here because I don't usually follow Twitter. Just now I opened this account because of BA Club only. I opened this account in
Okay.
order to because I was missing a lot because everything was getting this meeting and everything was going on Twitter. So I was not able to get updated and I was quite busy actually.
Uh-huh.
So I was not able to follow up whatever is happening. So right now I want to catch up on whatever is going on. So I wanted to join this
Yeah.
whatever the conference. Yeah.
Thanks for joining in. So how do you came to know about the BA club?
Well, I was desperately searching for a job. Uh, from I was a BA in a small startup company where they were not using me as a proper BA. So I
Uh-huh.
was desperately looking for other opportunities where the proper functional role of BA is defined, and I was following that person. His name in LinkedIn. There's a person called Divakar. I think you might know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of like what to say. He was sharing a lot of materials, and which gave me a lot of ideas. And then I was searching into and he was also advising some Telegram groups channels. If you could join, they are here. And then I was searching for the Telegram channels, and then I came to join here. I do have a lot of Telegram channels which I joined, but this
Mhm.
one is kind of protective and it's kind of what to say. There are some rules and regulations. Some places like getting spammed and they do not know how to control, and here it is like this group is like pretty organized and it's pretty good. And the people whomever is giving the advice and they are like uh, they're having professional experience and they do know what they're handling. So that
Yeah.
is a good. Yeah,
Yeah. Thanks for your kind words, Prasanna.
yeah, that's
Um,
nothing. This is what the fact is, and just stating the facts from my point of view.
yeah, it's always good to hear good things. So we are
Thank
just, trying our bit to bring in more BAs into the industry. So many people, are aspiring to become a BA, but before they make a decision, we want them to be aware of what a BA does and, what the BA roles and responsibilities are. So,
yeah. Yeah,
uh,
initially, whenever I face this role, I have undergone a lot of interviews. Almost
Mhm.
90% I flunked only. None of the interviews got through. And the first interview which I got through was the startup company, whichever they were like. They felt like I was good enough, but the problem was that they were not actually. They did not want BA. They what they wanted was a PMO role. So my role was totally different, and the work whichever I was doing was not even correlated with the BA. And whenever I was trying to substantiate whatever I was doing, no one accepted that as a BA role. That was the problem. So I would try to listen to a lot of conversations. I was listening to a lot of videos and Perfect BA. I think that is also one of the video which contributed to me lot to understand about what the BA role is, how the requirement gathering everything is done. And but still the problem was that I was not able to mm, correlate with the practical thing. Whenever I say the answer for the question, people would be like, they are pretty experienced. I'm looking for a senior business analyst role. So, what the problem was, they would be like easily identifying that this is like you are saying the theoretical thing only, Prasanna. We could see really look into you are not so very practical person. I said I'd be learning, so give me a role or something like that. So they might sense my desperateness. So that was a failure for me. So I want to learn much more and what is it actually and how the project is getting done and from where does it start and what is the ratio matrix and those kind of things. I just want to learn. That is it. That is it.
Mhm. Yeah, it is very tough to crack into a BA role. Plus, in industry there are a lot of people who are given a designation of BA, just because they think that they will be able to hire more talent with this designation. But at the end of it, they just end up giving people work which is a non-technical kind of a work. So
Yeah.
even
Right.
when I was working for a very very reputed company, and you know it they hired me as a BA, and I was having an experience of 6 7 8 years at that time, and they gave me a work which was like open notepad, make changes to it, save it. And that was the work I was doing. And you
Precisely, my job was to update the same word pattern. I was like, oh my god, what am I
yeah,
supposed to do?
and to 1 week into that role, I tried to understand, what am I doing exactly. It's just open note, but of course there was a lot of analysis behind that. Even if I have to make a small change, but still I have to analyze, how it is going to impact my upcoming releases, how it is, changing my
Mhm.
existing code. So it was kind of a coding kind of a work, but because that was too too low, right? Open a notepad, make changes to it for a developer. They gave that role to me. And I immediately got hold of my manager, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm a experienced BA, and this is the work you are giving me. And they were like, no, we are looking for a BA lead, so we are giving you this kind of work, but alongside you will be doing the BA lead activities, and a lot of other project management help you will be doing. So at the end of it was all good. But in industry, that day I realized in industry non-technical work is also given to BAs. So but that is not an actual BA role.
Yeah, it is. That is kind of that sucks. Literally,
Yeah.
even I had, yeah, even I had kind of. I was not even this kind of role. It was at least a partial way. What I was doing was getting into the user manual, writing. It was more like kind of dashboard, whichever they are producing. They have completed the dashboard and provided the client, and the client doesn't know how to. They don't have any proper documentation, so that was a predominant role which I had to play a part of.
Mhm.
And they do not have any prior documents to refer or anything, so they just said that to prepare the documents as a user manual, whatever it is coming up for you.
Yeah.
That was a major role which I was doing. I didn't feel like the requirements gathering part or whatever it is. I never felt that because the project was already completed.
Mhm.
So I was at the end stage of the product. So they have provided everything, and the post servitizations were going on, like bugs fixing and those kind of things. Like
Mhm.
they said that they are following agile methodology, but I didn't see that actually happening. Neither sprint, not,
Yeah,
not.
very few people are following agile, because agile is not only a methodology, it's a mindset. But people
Yeah,
are still stuck in a waterfall mindset. So
yes, it is.
so very few people. So what they are doing is they are doing mini waterfalls, and they're just giving it as name of agile. But very few people are following the true sense of agile, which is having an agile mindset, being able to
Yeah,
adapt quickly.
adapt to the change. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
not happening.
not many people are there yet. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, we have others on the call as well. Hi Neil. Neil, you there?
Hi, welcome, Neil.
Sarvayan?
Full name Neil Sarvana. Neil Sarvaya.
Yeah.
I think he's busy.
Yeah, maybe he's busy. Yeah, I'd like to invite Vijay and Shubham as well, Shubhendu as well. Please join us on call. Um, it's the today's topic is roles and responsibilities of a BA, right? And there is nothing new which I feel I will be able to tell you all. So the way we are going to conduct this session is, I'll be driving the session, but I want you people to, you know, run the session. So I'll be kind of let's make it a kind of a brainstorming session wherein everyone is pitching in, everyone is giving their ideas, everyone is telling their understanding, right? And that's how we are going to drive the session. Okay, so I want everyone in this session to be on stage and contribute to the session. Then we can have an interactive session today, right? Let's not just think of it as me being a speaker and you being a receiver end. Uh, it's going to be a brainstorming kind of a session, right? Brainstorming is one of the very effective requirement elicitation techniques. So we are going to run that technique in this session. So I want everyone to join on stage. Yeah. um
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Okay, Shikha. Yeah, hi, hi, hi all.
yeah, hi
Hi,
Shubhendu.
sir. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, hi, Prasanna.
not.
Hi, Vijay.
Hi Shipra, hi everyone.
I was
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. So today's session is BA roles and responsibilities, right? And how we are going to see BA roles and responsibilities is in terms of what roles and responsibilities a BA have in the different phases of SDLC. So the first thing that will have to understand what is SDLC. Does any one of you, will like to share their understanding?
SDLC is basically a software development lifecycle. It
Mm-hmm.
has like 6 stages. I think I'm not very familiar with that. It
Mm-hmm.
starts with the initiation phase. I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Please go ahead.
yeah, it starts with the initiation phase and planning, execution, deployment, and it circles back to the changes or something. I'm sorry. This is what I remember in a very vague way.
Yeah. So
Because
before we jump into the phases of SDLC, but let's first understand what the SDLC is, right? So it stands for Software Development Lifecycle, as you rightly said. But what does it does? Is it agile? Is it waterfall? Or what it is actually? How it is used, and what we do with it?
mm, it is a framework, I think. Like, for example, you'll be able to plan your product or the process accordingly where you could. Mm,
Mm-hmm. Anyone
I'm not.
else have any ideas?
Yeah, Shipra, as mentioned, it stands for software development lifecycle, right? So,
Mhm.
give an example. If there is a development, if we're taking an example of an iPhone, so the iOS uh, operating system that we have. So, what all life changes until it meets the final output? What all stages it goes through? That's what it talks about.
Right. Right. Neil, you were saying something?
Yeah, Shipra. Hi all.
Yeah. Hi.
Software development life cycle just currently implies that we have followed that particularly the process. So it becomes like that key normally whether it is for a new product or whether it is for an existing product. So methodology remains the same, but for the new product we need to have this from the scratch, and the existing product we need to have the change request and all such things. So the process of getting it like that, we have a kick-off meeting over there, then plan it out, then is how the particular changes would be required to have for any of the business requirements. So the particularly it's a role of the BA. So how you frame it into the process. If you have to make it like that, my project would be around 1 month or 3 months or like that. So we need to have the phases of that SDLC. When your project would be getting implemented. So that side, the development of that particular software would get completed.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, right. So SDLC is basically how we are, going to develop and how we are going to deliver, right? Any piece of software. So as the Surveyan rightly mentioned, it could be a new product development, it could be a new project or a new, website development, or it could be a change request kind of a thing. But how we are going to develop it, how we are going to deliver it, how we are going to test it, how we are going to plan for it, how we are going to analyze for it. So all these, is the step by step method by which we will make a final product delivery or final project delivery, right? So that's what SDLC is. Now, going back to the phases, some phases we have already talked about. So we talked about planning, analysis. So um, if you Google it out, right, you'll find 6 stages of SDLC, 7 stages of SDLC, 5 stages of SDLC, right? Different stages. So different people define SDLC with different phases. But for the purpose of this session, what we are going to do is we are going with planning phase, analysis phase, designing and development phase, testing phase, and then final deployment phase. Okay. So these are the phases we will go with. So starting with planning phase. So what's your understanding of what planning phase is? And then we are going to talk about what BA does in planning phase. Okay. So what first we'll talk about what planning phase is, or what it does, what this phase talks about. Anyone?
I'll try, Shipra. So it's an understanding of what the current concern or problem or what the issue is, and what could be the solution for it. So, planning of this, what's the issue and what would be the solution for it. Talking
Is that
about that one, and
is that really planning, or is it more like analysis?
okay. Hmm.
That's analysis, right? What understanding what the problem is and what the solution is.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So what is planning? Prasanna?
Maybe I think it is to identify any kind of problem that is. Oh, that is also analysis. That comes with analysis, right? Identifying the problem is also analysis. So what can we say? Mm,
Or is it no planning of the resources, capital, or
Right.
time structure?
Right, right. You're going on the right track, right?
Okay, 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 got it.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically
Mhm.
project planning. So what happens in planning phases? PMs will understand, and they'll involve some senior BAs and they'll involve some technical architects. So a small team is formed, and what this team does is they plan out. They understand what client is asking for. They are not talking about low level requirements or high level requirements, or uh, the solutions for it. They just try to understand what we are going to do. Are we going to create a new product? Are we going to implement a product? Are we going to create some website from scratch, or some application from scratch? Are we going to make some changes in an existing system? Is it a CR? Right. So they understand the scope of the project. They understand, they put in some very high level estimations, assumptions, and they estimate the work involved. So they'll say, okay, it's going to be a 6 month duration project. It's going to be a 3 year duration project. And they say, okay, we'll be needing so many people at different stages. So maybe at the start we'll need 10 BAs. After this date we'll need 5 BAs, right? Because major work will have been covered. Things like that. So they'll plan for the resources, they'll plan for the time, they'll schedule, and they plan for the releases. We are going to give monthly release, or we are going to give quarterly release, or we are going to give half yearly releases. So they plan for releases. They plan essentially what we are going to do as part of this project, and that is the planning phase. With me so far?
Yeah,
yeah.
Shipra. Just one question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this would happen after the kickoff meeting or before, Shipra? Like uh, the
What do
kickoff
you
meeting that we talk.
what do you mean by kickoff meeting?
Like the initial discussion that happens with the client, wherein not the introduction of uh, the the parties involved in that
Yeah.
project.
So kickoff meeting is a part of the planning phase, right? So
Okay, okay.
uh, there is a high level uh, request that has come from the client. Your
Mm-hmm.
managers will put some numbers to it, put some amounts to it, and what they'll say is, okay, in order to get better understanding of what we are going to do, let's do a discovery phase. Let's do a discovery of the project. And that's discovery is kind of the planning activities, right? So that's a mix of planning and analysis. So in that discovery, we understand what the client requirement are, what the business requirements are, and we also understand what we are going to do. So all this data, all this information will feed into your um, final plan. So the kickoff
Mm-hmm.
meeting. So kickoff is just means the starting meeting, the first meeting of any work. So kickoff meeting can be, a meeting which will say, okay, we are going to do a discovery of 2 weeks, and we are going to have so many sessions. So just bringing everyone up to speed on how we are going to run discoveries. the kickoff meeting can also start at the start of the analysis phase, wherein they'll say, we are going to run so many workshops, and this, in this workshop we are going to cover so many aspects. So, and this is how we are going to work. So, kickoff can be at the start of the planning phase. Kickoff can also be at the start of a discovery, development as well, right? So, kickoff means nothing as in particular. Kickoff means starting. We are starting with something, right?
Okay.
That's why I asked her, what do you mean by kickoff? And when you said, we are introducing client, we are bringing in client for the first time, that kickoff meeting is the planning phase meeting, right? So because at some point in time, you need to involve your customers and you need to involve others, right? So, so if you're doing a kickoff meeting with the client, suggesting them that, these are the meetings we are going to have upfront for the discovery, then that's part of the planning phase. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. But Shubhra, I do have another doubt actually.
Mhm.
In regards to a product company, they have developed a product and they are trying to identify prospects, that is the potential prospects where they want to pitch in their product. What place does it come into? Because after pitching in the product, they will be like the product, the client will be saying like these kind of modifications I need or customization or something they will ask for, and post that we will start planning and those kind of things. Is that where the planning initiates, or even from the start, wherever we have designed the product and we have I start identifying the prospect, that itself is coming under the planning phase? What
Okay.
phase is that?
So there are different kinds of projects, right? And part of the planning is to identify what type of project it is. One is product development, wherein we are developing a product, but this product development does not, bring into the customer elements. There is no customer for a product, right? At this stage, we are just saying we are developing the product. Now, when we start with the product development, we'll keep on developing it, and irrespective of customers purchasing the product or not. So the product development is one kind of a project that will keep on going. Then comes the implementation project, wherein a client has purchased the product, and then you go and you are saying, okay, we'll do a discovery session with you, and we'll understand, whether our product will suit your needs as is, or whether there are some requirements which we may not be able to meet. It is also possible that as part of the discovery, client says, oh, your product is not well suited for my requirements, right? Let me look for some other product. That is also a possibility. So understanding the client requirements, and how whether we can even implement it or not, and then doing the implementation itself. So even if the product is available, even if you are saying we are giving you out of the box, but still there will be some configurations that you will have to do for the client. So all those configurations will form a part of the implementation project. Once implementation is done for a maybe the entire thing, or maybe a chunk of it. So once a release happens, then once your system has gone live, then comes the support project. So your support project will support the whatever has gone live and support the final end users, right? So the project itself can be of different thing. Now, as part of your discovery of implementation, you realize my product is not suiting, or the product which we are going to refer to is suiting 90% of the client requirements, but there are 10% of the requirements which are not met. In that case, what you will do is you will reach out to the product team and tell them that my client is looking for these 10% requirements. Can you develop it, or you want me to do something in the implementation, or you are providing me with some workarounds, right? So that's a different discussion. So product team and your implementation team will coordinate, or coordinate with each other on regular basis. So client is the source of the requirements. Even if the product has their own roadmap, still client is the king, right? So they will definitely be looking into the client requirements. They will not say, oh, we are going to develop my product like this, but we are not meeting the client requirements, right? So client will always take precedence. So product may say, okay, let me keep these 2 or 3 features on hold, and let me bring in the client requirement midway. So that does happen. So the project itself is different. So what we are going to talk about will differ for products, will differ for implementation, will differ for support kind of a project. Does
Okay,
that
so here the planning phase doesn't work out in the product product kind of implementation. Where the planning phase is totally different. That's what you're saying, right? If I
So
understand this right.
even if it's a product development, right? Still planning phase needs to be there, because you will plan out. Okay, so at the start of the product development, you'll say I'm doing let's say half yearly releases, right? So I'm going to have 2 releases in a year. Now, once you are at towards the end of your any release, you will start planning for the next release. So in the planning, the major thing that you look at is the scope. It's not like I'll do next I'll for the next 6 months I'll continue with whatever I'm doing. No, it doesn't happen like that. You will decide what features I will be working on, what user stories I will be working on, what requirements I will be working on. Will I need to go with the same team size, or do I need to bring in more teams? Do I need to increase people in my team? Do I need to decrease people in my team? Do I need to look into some other project? So let's say organization is not working on one project at a time, right? The organization will have 10 different projects. Are there any other projects which will need my resources? Do I need to lend out resources, right? So planning is required even for product development, and it's the same thing. Understanding that scope, understanding the timelines, understanding the resource requirements, understanding the capacity of the people, understanding their availability of the resources, right? So everything is same. It's just that the requirements differ.
Okay, got it. Got it, Shipra. No issue.
Yeah, support is a kind of a project where you cannot plan, because you don't know when the customer is going to log a ticket and when the customer is going to raise a defect or a bug or a requirement, right? So support is not something you can plan, but still planning will be there as part of the support project. It will be different planning, in the sense that you'll say, okay, my one BAU resource, one BA, 2 developments, 3 QC team members will continue. Or you'll say, oh, I'm getting so many CRs, let me make a small release for let me combine 12 of these CRs and give a small mini release to the customer, right? So those kind of plannings will also be done for the support project. But planning phase is a phase which will be there irrespective of whether it is product development, whether it is implementation, or whether it is support, or whether it is anything. Even if you are constructing a house, you plan for it, right? Even if you are going on a trip, you plan for it. So
Okay.
nothing happens on the fly,
Yeah,
right?
got it. Yes. What my thing was, what's the concern was, where does the client come into picture? Where in the planning phase, have we already identified the client, or are we still supposed to identify them? That was my doubt. Now my doubt is cleared. No issues.
Yeah,
Thank you.
in the product, your client won't be there. So product development, your
Yeah.
PO will be a pseudo client.
Okay.
So client, or what we understand by the client. Client is someone who decides what needs to be done. So in product development, your PO is kind of will play the role of a client.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we all clear on what the planning phase is?
Yeah, Shipra, clear. But one basic question I have,
Mhm.
if you may. So when we're talking about software development life cycle, is it only building of something software, like say for example an application or a website, or
It's software development, right? It's software development life cycle.
okay, so so say something like an Xbox or PS3,
Mm-hmm.
they are physical products, but
Mm-hmm.
they internally have some software
Software.
added, right? So that is considered as a software, or
That's a software.
okay.
So even your
Mhm.
cars, right? Nowadays we have smart cars. Even our cars
Mhm.
will have software inside them. TV, all our electronic gadgets, even fans are coming with Bluetooth and software
Yeah.
nowadays, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything is software driven. Hardware is just a something that will uh, use that software, but
Okay.
software is a software. it
Yeah.
it it is irrespective of who is using it. It could be a website, it could be an Windows application, it could be a mobile application, it could be linked to some instrument like cars or um, you know
Hmm.
Xbox.
Okay. Got it. So, I mean, there's another term which is PDLC, I guess, product life development life cycle. So, is it different from SDLC?
I've not heard of this term, product development life
Oh,
cycle, but it's same as
It's
product.
almost the same. It is almost the same. The what they say is that soft SDLC and PDLC is almost the same. They they term it with along with the product type of life cycle and the software type of life cycle. That is it. There is not nothing much of a change. And the process is also almost the same. Here, what they define is, according to my understanding, what they define is majorly about the process, not about this is only particular to the software or they won't confine it for this particular thing alone. It is more like kind of the process which you plan and how you optimize the work, optimize the team, and how you get the work out of them in a perfect and an efficient way. That is what the planning and everything happens. It is
Mhm.
almost same for every like manufacturing industry. Anything if you take, they will be calling lean management or agile methodology. Everything the methodology is common. The name only differs.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so it's TLC only, but for a product. So they are just suggesting it differently because they wanted to define it specific in terms of product development, right? So in implementation also I'm following SDLC, but I won't call it implement. I can call it implementation development life cycle, right? Implementation life cycle development won't be the right word, but it's just a term, right?
Okay.
So as I mentioned, everyone will have their own version, right? People keep on changing the basics and start giving it their own names and say that I am creating this, but at the end of it, it's all boils down to the same things. Yeah. Hi Bhushan, thanks for joining us.
Hey, hi Shipra. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. That's what I can say, Shipra.
Okay. So Bhushan, we are talking about planning phase. Do you have anything to add here?
Nothing. I think we you already cover everything in terms of planning phase. I joined lately, but I see that you cover almost anything what we cover in like planning phase.
Okay.
My
Okay.
my only question to you is that I didn't work in some or like product owner or product manager. So how do you differentiate between or what is the journey for the product development that can be differentiated from the project or it is same only?
So, um, what is a project, right? Project is something that we will be working on for the upcoming few weeks, months, years. So it's a container kind of thing, right? So it can be for product development, it can be for implementation, it can be for support, it can be just a discovery, a project for the discovery itself. So project is a bigger umbrella, and product development is a subset of it.
Okay, okay. So let's say,
Shipra, can I
Shipra,
add something? Nilesh here.
Yes,
yeah,
sure, sir.
Yeah. Acha, someone asked about that the product development life cycle and software development life cycle. So, see, when into an organization, okay, when you go for some development into that organization, whether it's a new development or whether it is the existing development, so that development would be considered as my software development life cycle. But now coming to the product development, if suppose the some reg reporting is the company is there, reg reporting is there, if you can say Infosys is there, so they have a respective product. Okay, so they when they do that development, so that development would be procured by all the banks. Mostly all the banks they procure as a CBS, the core banking solution. So that would be my product over there. So it is that product that will be applicable to my all the banks over there. That will be deployed to at the bank side. Now, if suppose say XYZ bank is there, private bank is there, customization would be coming into my software development lifecycle, because that customization won't be a part of my product. It will be a part of that organization only. They have customized it and they will be using for their own methods over there. Uh, Friends, okay, if I have some clear understanding.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Amayan. Um, Bhushan?
Yeah. So again, uh, so let's say I'm working with the bank client for the legal department, and I have built one web portal to use the legal like signature authority delegation part. So I will call it as product or I will call it as project. So like how I can differentiate, or it is the same thing. You
So,
understand my question?
so the website that you are developing, if multiple
Hmm.
people will be using that website, and you
Yeah,
are creating a base website which you can deploy further to different people, different organizations, then that's a product. But the development of it will be done inside a project. That won't so product itself is the software or the application or the combination of hardware and the software. That's the product. WhatsApp application is a product, X is a product, but the project is creating that product or developing the product or implementing the product. So there, there is a this one is an apple and other is an orange. Product is the software itself. You won't call it as a project. Project is the end to end development of it.
understood. So means as you already said, the product is subset of project.
Product,
Ultimately, we
yeah, product is the final output, right?
understood.
And
Mhm.
the creation of it is the project. So if I'm looking
Okay,
at
okay.
TV and I'm looking channels in it, all right, so
Mhm.
that's the product. I have purchased the TV product. I have purchased the mobile product, and this mobile offers me hundreds of softwares, right? But introducing, maybe if I have purchased a mobile and this mobile has 150 softwares in it, if I want to introduce one more software to it, it's not like I'll say I want to add a software and it will be within a second it will be added on. I have to create that software. I have to make sure that it is deployable on my mobile phones. I have to make it available in the Play Store. So I have to do something to make it available, right? I cannot just
Okay,
create a software in a second. I have to do something to create a software, right? That creation is this project.
understood.
So the
Understood,
final
Sita.
software is the product. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for yeah.
Okay. Any other questions in terms of planning phase? I'll take it as a no. Okay. Next question is role of a BA in planning phase. So, what do we understand? What a BA does in planning phase. One thing I mentioned at the beginning is in a planning phase, not all BAs are involved. Very senior BAs are involved, or experienced BAs are involved. Planning phase is a small team. It's not a full end to end product development or an implementation or a support, right? So they don't need everyone to be in all the meetings and to be part of the planning. A small core team is formed, and in that core team they cannot put a fresher and say that, oh, you are a BA and you define what we are going to be doing. You plan out the release, right? That fresher BA will not have any experience whatsoever. Fresher BA will not be able to provide expert judgment. So expert judgment is one of the key inputs in the planning phase, wherein people will, based on their past experiences, say, this is the work. It's going to take so much time. This is how we can do it, right? So they provide their own experience. They provide their own judgment. A fresher BA or a mid-level BA might not be in a position to provide that expert judgment because they are not experts. So a core team is formed with experts. Technical architects are taken. Not even the development lead might not be part of that planning phase. technical architect, business architects, project managers, program managers, those kind of people with QC leads, right? People who are experts in their field and who have experience of doing projects in the past are part of the core team. So not every BA will be involved in a planning phase. So that's one aspect of it. Now, a senior BA has been made part of the planning team. Now, what do you think will be his roles and responsibilities are as part of the planning phase? So we have discussed planning phase in detail. Thinking of that, what do you think BA does in that core team?
Maybe creation of a roadmap, like
Mhm.
what would be the project scope, and how many releases or how frequently that's been done, and deciding of who is requirements giving person from the client side and how it is collected.
Mhm. Yeah. So here there is a very thin line between project manager and BA. When you say how many releases we will be doing, that is project manager who will be deciding it. When you are saying what's the scope of the project, that's where BA's involvement will be, because BA will be asking very high level questions. We are not going into details in the planning phase, irrespective of how much we want it. But planning phase is a high level phase, high level business requirement phase. It's not a functional requirement phase. It's does not talk about the solution. It does not talk about how we are going to implement it. It's just talk about what do we need. So what do we need is something that project manager and BA will try to understand together from the client. What exactly are they looking for, what features they are looking for, what requirements they are looking for. Are they looking for one fields, are they looking for 10 fields, what changes they want, are they looking for a new feature, what's altogether what this feature will do, basic things. So project manager may not have the right experience for it, a BA might have it. So BA will be defining the scope, project manager will be deciding how many releases we are going to do. Technical architect will be based on the scope alongside the assumptions that BA has given. So I am saying, I'll be setting up this product, but alongside I am saying, giving an assumption, I will be setting up, 5 fields out of the total 10. So some assumptions VA will give, and based on those assumptions, technical architect will provide a very high level estimates of how many days they think we will be able to deliver those. And then project manager will take those total number of days and say, let's say I'm saying, this client is saying 5 requirements, and for these 5 requirements, developer is saying each of my requirement is 10 days. So what project manager will do is, project manager will say, okay, 5 requirements, 10 days each, total 50 days. I'll need to have this project going on, right? So my development will be for 50 days. Now I will not have 50 days is roughly 2 months, right? More than 1.5 months. So I'll say, okay, let me do 2 releases. So in the first release, my first release will be of 3 weeks, and next release will be of 3 weeks, and maybe release 3, because we have to count for weekends also, right? So we are saying 15 days, 15 days for sprint 1, 15 days for sprint 2, and sprint 3 will be 15 days. Then sprint 4, which is a mix of bug fix and rest of the things. So I'll do 50 days of work in 4 different sprints, 3 weeks each. So that's project manager will do. Then what BA will do is, BA will say, okay, I have these 5 requirements. Let me now break down these 5 requirements. And I have 4 releases. So let me do requirement 1 and 2 in first release, and second sprint will have requirements 3. Sprint 3 will have requirement 4, and sprint 4 will have requirement 5 plus bug fixes, right? So BA will fit those requirements into the plan. So it's a collaborative exercise, but we have to understand what BA will be deciding and what PM will be deciding. BA will not be deciding the number of releases. BA will not be deciding the effort required. That's technical architect's job. Defining the number of releases is PM's job. BA's job is to fit those requirements into those releases, define the requirements and fit into the releases. So it's a collaborative effort, but everyone should know their boundaries. Does that make sense?
Yeah, adding to it, Shipra's
Mhm.
explanations. Normally, basically, some types of BAs are there. What we came across over there, we need to fit across our boundaries. So, okay, some BAs are like that. They take the requirement, they sit with the developers, they look upon the technical logic, they go across with the development, they do their UAT, they confirm the QA part also, and then they are satisfied okay, this product is now ready to implement it. But normally, whatever the time he has consumed so far for the post requirement sign off till the implementation, that was not required because that was the team's part over there, like development team, some QA team is there. So that is the role of them. So that was the only point to add.
Yeah, thanks, Sarvan. And that's a very valid point. I have seen project managers giving a feedback that BAs overstep their boundaries. So that's the exactly same point that you have raised. Uh, don't overstep your boundaries because you can get a backlash for it. Now, what will happen is that you are overstepping your boundary, thinking that, oh, my efforts will be recognized, but they are going to backfire on you because you don't have that capability and you don't have that understanding, right? So you may not be the right person to make those decisions or do that work. And what will happen is the other person who is supposed to do the work, the other person will end up blaming you. Oh, Shipra told us to do like this. That's why we told. So let's say there is a technical decision, technical approach that needs to be taken. Now team is discussing it, and let's say because I have a good technical understanding and I have I have understood what the team is saying. Let me take that decision and I'll say, okay, let's go with this technical approach. Now if that approach fails somehow, towards the end of the project, what technical team will say, Shipra made that decision, and your project manager will be like, why you made this decision, who told you? So it was a decision technical architect was supposed to take, right? So instead of getting my efforts recognized, I'll get a backlash for it. So there is a saying in Hindi, jiska kaam usi ko saaje, right? So whomsoever is supposed to do a work, that same person should do that work. Don't overstep your boundaries. You're definitely going to get a backlash for it one day or the other. Plus you're going to make your team upset, right? So developers will be like, why she's pitching in, why she's dictating it, it's not her work. But they won't say anything to you. But in behind the scenes they will be thinking, she's too she's micromanaging my work, right? Same goes for testers. So if you tell them, do like this, do like this, do like this, they'll be like, okay, I'm doing it now, why you are putting your nose inside my work? So no one will appreciate it. People will uh, will not like it. If you're if, as a BA, if you're doing something right, and if project managers start telling you, okay, take this requirement, write it like this, create a solution like this, you won't like it, right? Same goes for other team members also. Dev won't like it, QC won't like it, no one will like it if you're doing their work. Plus if that work fails because you don't have the right skills for it, and the probability is more because of your lack of skills, you're going to get a backfire for it for sure. So that's a very good point. I'll like to second that. And that's very important, and that's why it's very important for us to understand what are the roles and responsibilities in each phase, right? So someone mentioned that BA will be identifying the number of releases, and that's why I'm saying no. Identification of number of releases is PM's job, not a BA's job. How much effort we will need. So BA might say okay, we implemented a similar field in 10 story points last time. We'll do the same this time also. Let's put 10 story points. Tomorrow, technical architect may say, oh, we have found another way, and this is not going to take 10 story points. This is just a 1 story point work now, right? So you won't have anything to say at that point in time. So it's better to ask technical team member, even if you have the right experience. But it's not your job to identify how much development efforts will be required. You can provide your BA efforts, but you should not be providing development efforts, even if you have exactly same stories available with you, right? So you don't know, no, technical architect may say. So technical architect may say, okay, we took more time in the last time because we didn't had the knowledge of it, but now we have the knowledge, and it's a copy paste kind of a job. So whatever took 10 days in the past, I'll do it in 3 days this time, or 1 day this time. You're not the right person to suggest that, right? The technical architect is. So don't overstep your boundaries. Yeah. So coming back to the planning phase and role of a BA. So one thing couple of things we noted. Uh, Senior BAs will be part of the planning phase. They'll help in defining the scope. They'll put in the assumptions, and they'll help in doing backlog creation. Let me put it this way. So not only product but implementation will have their own backlogs as well. So BA will define what we will be doing after what. They will be taking care of the dependencies, and they'll be aligning the requirements uh, in uh, in a fashion with that one after another. So they will be identifying the dependencies of the requirements as well. So that's one job that BA will be doing. What other things come to mind? Anyone?
No, Shipra.
Okay. Anyone has any ideas what the other things BA will be involved in during the planning phase?
Shipra, may I try?
Sure.
Uh, BA basically, after getting up that, okay, we need to now start up the requirement gathering facilitation. So they will be looking after the department heads over there and get the time of their users. So after getting the time of the users, they will be facilitating the requirement, key, what is the exact scope of the particular requirement. So one by one, as of whatever the start date and end date is being given. So in that phase over there, he will be able to complete the particular requirement gathering and prepare the BRD or FSD, whatever the documents he needs to prepare, then give it for requirement sign off over there.
Right. So, to summarize, BA will be planning the analysis phase. So that's another, thing that BA will be working on alongside the workshop plans for the discovery phase. So first of all, BA will be engaging with the customer to get the high level requirements, and then BA will also be, planning in the terms of how we are going to define the low level requirements, how we are going to define the functional requirements, how many sessions I will need from the customer, how we are going to engage it, right? So planning phase is an engagement phase wherein you will be engaging your customer for the first time. So whatever methodologies you are going to take in the planning phase, those methodologies are going to stick throughout your uh, development, right? So for example, if in the planning phase you are saying let's have a meeting once in a week, so once in a week meetings will happen during your analysis phase as well, until and unless you go in and say now we need a regular meetings, or now we want to change the way of working, right? So if you're taking requirements in a workshop, then maybe in analysis phase you'll continue with those workshops. If you have just discussed the requirements over email, some requirements are very simple, you don't even need a workshop for it, right? That client will start preferring the emails over your workshops down the line. So it's the time when you will be setting the, not documented engagement rules with your customer. You will be, setting up your impression. The first impression matters. So this is the time when you will be impressing the client. You will be building up a rapport with the client. You will be, making the client comfortable to give you the requirements, make the client uh, trust you, make the client understand what expectations from him or her will be. So you will be suggesting to the client, okay, down the line I will be expecting you to provide me with so and so information. After 1 month I'm going to give you a BRD, where I'll be looking for your approval. Or after 1 month I will be giving you, or after initial 1 month, we will be having regular sessions with you wherein I'll be going through the stories which we have created, so that you can give us the approval, right? So you will be planning for the analysis phase. You will be, planning what you are going to do. At the same time you will be engaging with the customer and, bringing the customer up to your speed, bringing the customer up to your level, right? So getting a comfortable position with the customer. So that's another important aspect. And that's another reason why they try to bring in those people in planning phases who are who can build up a trust with the customer. Because planning phase is one phase where it is possible that the project may get discarded. So they only want right people in this phase. In other phases, some people are not giving the desired outputs, that can still work, right? Because there will be other people filling in for them, but not for the planning phase. If in the planning phase you don't have the right set of people who can engage with the customer, then it's possible that the project itself may fail before it starts. So client engagement and preparing for the analysis phase is another important thing that a BA will be doing in the planning phase. Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you agree? Do you don't agree?
I think Shifra now everyone is exhaustive. I think so. 10:30 it's over there, so might be.
Yeah. Yeah. I also wanted to suggest, it was very interactive session. So we'll like to continue it. So we touched upon the planning phase. I was hoping we would be able to go a bit faster, but it was a nice discussion altogether, and it's very important for us to understand where the boundaries are, right? So I'll also like to close the session after the planning phase, but let's close off the planning phase before we do that, right? So any questions, anyone? So
No.
would you like to join us on stage?
One question I have from Shipra.
Yeah, Vijay.
The summary of BA roles. You mentioned that gathering the high level requirements, and the other one was fitting the in releases. So I did not understand that part. Uh,
Okay.
like, can you give an example,
Hmm.
if
Okay.
possible? Yeah.
Okay. So let me take an insurance example, right?
Mhm.
So as part of my planning, I am, when I'm doing the discovery with the client, what I will like to understand is the line of business which the client will be looking for. So in insurance, we have different lines of business: marine, property, motor, right? So there can be different types of insurance, right? So you can purchase insurance for your home, you can purchase insurance for your motor, you can purchase insurance for life, for health, right? So different lines of business. These are all different lines of business, different types of insurance. So your uh, insurance policy for your home will not be same as the insurance policy for your vehicle. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
completely different. So these are called lines of business, and as part of the discovery, you will be understanding what line of business you will be setting up. It's a very high level requirement. You don't know what data capture fields we will be talking about down the line, right? You just know
Mhm.
that I am going to set up, let's say, property line of business, for client property locations. So you are saying property line of business, I'm going to set. That's a high level requirement. Now, based on your experience, you know that in property line of business, I will need to capture some basic information like related to the risk, insured name and other things. I will be capturing information about the underwriter. I will be capturing information about the broker, different parties to the contract. I will be capturing information for limits, for premiums, so on and so forth. So that's based on your experience. That is not something that client has told you yet. Now, for limits, I may be setting up 30 limits, I may be setting up 50 limits, I may be setting up just 5 limits, right? I don't know that information at this stage. That's the information I will be eliciting from the client during the analysis phase. But from my experience, I know that for property line of business, I will have to set up the limits. For property line of business, I have to set up the locations. So what I'll do is I'll divide the setup of property line of business, a high level requirement, into different requirements like setting up of a property limit, setting up property premium, property locations, property basic information. So I divide that in requirement, and I'll then say, okay, in sprint one, I'll cover the basic information and the limits. In sprint two, I'll capture the underwriter details and the locations. In sprint three, I will be talking about the documents that will be generated from the system, what terms will be attached, right? So based on my experience, I have divided the information. I don't know the details yet, but I'm still able to define how my release is going to look like. Does that make sense?
Yes, Pranay, got it now.
So it's a combination of your experience and what client has told you. So client may have said, I want this new feature. You don't have any idea what you are going to develop as part of this feature, but still you know that feature is a requirement, right? And you know that in order to deliver this feature, I have to wait for the product development, and you can still plan for it. So there is a new feature which is not there in the product. You can still say, okay, in the initial first month, I will be talking about what the feature will do with the client. In the second month, I will be asking the product team to develop that feature for me. In the third month, let me keep it as a buffer in case there is a slippage on the product development, and let me do the implementation in the fourth sprint or fourth month. So this is somehow this is something that you can plan still, right? So planning can still happen even if you don't have the details with you. You don't know the solution, what solution is going to be prepared. You don't know, what the requirements are. You just have one liner statement or a very high level one liner understanding of what the client wants. But you can still plan for it. And that's why experienced VAs are, brought in. Freshers may not be able to, they may not have that experience to plan out the things which are not known.
Yeah, Ship, understood. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, so last call for any more questions in regards of planning phase and what BA does in the planning phase. No. Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's take a break here. We'll connect next week and we'll understand the next phases of SDLC and BA roles in that. So thanks all. Thanks for joining this. And uh, do we like this way of interaction? Do we like this brainstorming kind of session, or
Yeah.
do I find it more interactive, right?
Yes. Yes. Shipra, before we close, I do have
Mhm.
one question. So
Yeah.
let's say, as I told you previously, that I am my designation is currently senior business analyst, and
Mhm.
I play both role, like PM role. Like I am the one who is end to end responsible for project initiation to project delivery, and after that, maintenance and support. So if
Mhm.
I get any opportunity, let's say for the product owner or product manager role, or if let's say I have to give interview, so how I can tackle that? How I can convey that? Project is a bigger umbrella and product is a just subset of it. So
I'm
How
sorry.
can I
I
move
didn't
into
un-
that particular role?
No, so if you're wearing two hats, right? If you're wearing project manager hat and if you are wearing BA hat, so you will have to play both the roles. I didn't understood your question. Sorry.
So, the question is here. Let's say I'm doing both role here, BA and PM role,
Mm-hmm.
and if I get any opportunity to give interview for the product manager role or product owner role, so
Mm-hmm.
how I can convey that it is just not different two things. It is the same thing, and if given opportunity, I can work as a product manager or product owner.
Um. So one thing, let me clear. Product owner is a different role. Product
Mm-hmm.
manager is a different role. Project manager is a different role. Business analyst is a different role. All these four roles are quite different in the roles, in the responsibilities, in the work they do, right? So if you're doing, even if you're doing project management, you are not doing product management. The way of managing a product is entirely different from way of managing a project, right? So these are four different roles. um, what you can do is you can say that I have a theoretical understanding of what a product manager does, and this is my interest
Mm-hmm.
area, and because there is some overlap between the roles, right? So you must
Yeah,
have
there
seen
is
these.
an overlap. Yep.
Yeah. So there is some overlap, but there are many things which are not overlapping as well, right? So if I take a complete product manager role, some of it
Mm-hmm.
is overlapping with project management, some of it is overlapping with product owner, some of it overlapping with BA. So these roles are quite different in the nature, but there is overlap as well, right? So what you will have to, if you are giving an interview for a role which is different from what you are doing right now. So if you are doing BA plus PM role right now, and if you are giving an interview for PO role or a PM role, product manager role, then what you will have to suggest is showcase that the overlapping functions, or the overlapping experience that you have. Plus, for the other bits, you can say that even if I don't have experience in these areas, but I know I do still do have the theoretical knowledge of it, right? So that's the way going forward. But you can
Okay.
say
Okay.
that because I have done project management, I can do product management. No, that's a different role altogether. If you are saying, I'm doing project management and I can do product management as well, that will showcase that you don't even understand what the role of a product manager is. So don't make those statements. Just say that, as a product manager, I'm supposed to do this. For this I have experience as a project manager, for this I have experience as a project manager, for this I have experience as a BA, right? These are the areas where I don't have the experience, but I can, I'm a fast learner, and I can learn them, and plus I do have a theoretical knowledge of them, and I understand what my roles and responsibilities will entail, and this is the approach I think I will be able to deliver it, right? So show your positive attitude in the interview to get selected.
Okay. One more thing, uh, right now I'm working with banking client only, but not pure banking like capital market or investment banking or
Mm-hmm.
insurance stuff. So I'm just dealing with in general application. As I told you, like I had prepare or develop some application for the legal department, for the audit department, and one is overall banking projects as well, where expense recovery and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Other is like existing site whole rebranding. So like how I can tackle this domain part, because no, like currently there is a lot of openings for pure banking, or let's say they are looking for someone who work on AI, someone who work on like ERP, someone who work on like investment banking, capital market. But I do have core B or core PM roles or experience. So how I can tackle that? Like,
Yeah. So one thing to understand is that these domains are vast as oceans, right? insurance domain is so vast, banking domain is so vast, financial domain is so vast. So uh, in our lifetime, in our career, a single person will not have exposure to each and every bit of the domain, right? So, for
Exactly.
example, I have worked in policy administration systems throughout my life cycle, throughout my career, right? I have never
Mm-hmm.
worked on broker management systems. I have never worked on claim management systems, but that does not mean I don't have the understanding of these systems. It's just that I have not got the experience, right? So, and it's not my fault, right? It's the domain itself is so vast that I cannot go and learn and work on each and everything. So whatever and what happens is, if I am worked on one thing, people will give me opportunity to work on the same thing. They won't hire me to learn something from the scratch, right? They won't hire me to do something else. They'll hire me to work on the same thing that I was doing previously. There will be some flavors for it, but the end of it's the same thing. So uh, don't get demotivated thinking that, oh, I have not worked on this one, I have not worked on this one, I have not worked on this one. Even the interviewers understand that they may not get the exact person that they are looking for, right? So if in my organization there is an exposure management tool, so if we say
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for someone who has worked on exposure management previously, we know, as an interviewer itself, we know that the people who have that experience itself are very, very, very few. And having those people coming, giving their resumes to us, or passing the interviews, is the possibility is next to nil. So
But
what we
right now,
understand is,
Shipra.
just
Mhm.
let me complete, please. So what we understand as an interviewer is, we may not be getting the right match, or we may not be getting the people who are a right fit, but we look for the people who know what they are doing, right? So if you are saying I am working on this bit, if you are saying I am working on a legal application, and if you're not able to answer legal application questions, then I cannot rely on, or I cannot think that you will learn something else. You will be able to learn something, or I can make you learn something else. But if you can showcase that what your trait, if you can showcase that your work, you are good at what you do, you are good at whatever you have done, and you have the deep dive understanding of what you have done so far. If you can showcase that experience, showcase that knowledge, then it will improve the chances of your interview selection.
Right now, biggest challenge is my resume is not even shortlisting just because of this domain part. Like someone is looking for RPA, someone is looking for insurance, capital market,
So
So that's the biggest challenge I am facing
yeah,
right now.
resume not getting selected right now is attributed to the slowdown in the market right now, right? So market is very, very slow these days. So getting a resume selected is itself is a big thing. Plus, um, I can understand, but even if they select your resume for an opening, let's say the opening is for capital markets, you don't have that
Mhm.
experience. Even if they somehow select that resume, right? Let's say you just put capital markets in order to match it, you will not be able to clear the interview, right? You will not be the right fit for that profile. So it's better to go for something where you are a right fit, or if you are looking for something else, then gain the knowledge for it. Somehow, showcase that knowledge. For example, I'm in insurance domain, and let's say I have
Mhm.
never worked in life insurance. So throughout my career, I have worked in PNC insurance. Now, tomorrow, I feel that I'm not getting any calls for PNC insurance, and I'm seeing that all the calls that are there are for life insurance. My current profile will not be able to will not be able to will not give me an interview, because I don't have experience in the life insurance. So what I will do in that case is, I will give the life insurance certification. I will take some courses online, Coursera and Udemy, and life insurance related courses I'll take, and I'll try to gain the theoretical knowledge. Now how is going to help me is, one, when I say I am Luma certified or life insurance certification I have, it is going to get me an interview call. Second, the theoretical knowledge will help me clear the interview, right? So that's the way of progressing into a domain where you don't have the experience. Try to get some certifications done, try to get some courses done. That's the only thing you can do at this stage.
But problem is like what certification
Bhushan,
I can do. Like,
Bhushan, haven't you
I.
identified like that?
Mhm.
Some JDs are like that. He, they are very much asking from one individual too much things over there that he should have an experience in credit risk, market risk, and all such things. Means the total from A to Z of banking.
Yeah, and in that case, what will happen is that same JD will keep on floating in the market because no one will be able to meet all those requirements. And in the end of it, they'll close that opening and they'll give another JD with the more relaxing requirements.
Do you have any suggestion, Shipra? Like, Bhushan, you can do a certification with this particular domain because as part of domain, I don't have any such domain knowledge. Like, not into exactly into healthcare, not exactly into the banking, not exactly into the RPA, not into the Salesforce. So, any suggestion that Bhushan you can like? I cannot do certification for each and every domain.
Exactly. Exactly. So
So it is.
even if I say, okay, Bhushan, go and do this certification, right? It's not
Mhm.
going to help you because I don't know how many openings will be there still. I cannot say, okay, Bhushan, go and do insurance certification and you'll get an insurance job, right? Will not be able to suggest anything. It's up to you what you want to do and what opportunities you get, right?
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. So people come to me and say that, okay, we are working in, let's say, oil domain, right? And I want to change my domain to a banking domain. So it's all a matter of demand and supply. So if demand is more, then supply is also more. So how will you, if I'll, somehow find you in a banking certificate, or I'll recommend you an insurance certificate, how are you going to compete with the people who are working in this experience domain and have experience of 10 years, 12 years? You still will not be able to compete with them, right? Because if the demand is more, supply is also more. But instead of it, if I'm going for an oil domain and demand is very less, supply is also less, no? So how many people will be able to meet a requirement of having an oil insurance oil experience? Very few. So there's no short formula for learning a particular thing and being able to crack in it. uh, People come to me and say, give me a course, I'll do that course and I'll get a BA job. No, that's not how the way things work. It's a it's a constant endeavor, it's a constant learning. So you cannot learn 10 domains. I cannot suggest you one certification. So it's all up to the luck. It's all up to your hard work. It's all up to the opportunities. So play on your strengths. Don't play on your weaknesses. So what I understand is domain is your weakness, right? So
Yeah.
don't play on it. Don't you know try to remove your weakness. Let it be a weakness, but increase your strengths to such an amount that people don't look into your weaknesses. So if domain is your weakness, then play on the strength of business analysis. Make sure that whenever you are giving an interview, you are able to answer all questions related to business analysis. Make it more strong, right? People will not be able to find even a single element where your business analysis skills or your agile skills are lacking. They'll say, okay, domain is something that the person lacks, but it's still better than the other person who knows a bit of domain but does not know how to capture requirements or how to talk to the client, right? So increase your soft skills, communication skills, presentation skills. Work on those areas. Work on your strengths. Don't weakness is a weakness. You even if you do hard work towards your weakness, it will still remain bit lesser than your strengths, isn't it?
Yeah, understood. Understood.
So whatever
That's it.
make sure that you know it deep dive.
Yeah, market situation is bad. That's what I can see as well from past 1.5 months.
Yeah. Market is very down right now. But you never know, right? So 2 years
Yep.
back, we were having so many jobs openings and all. The time will come again. No one will be able to suggest when, but it's a cycle, right? Up and down.
Yeah. 2 years back, it was, a very high demanding market, and right now, yeah, it is down, you can say.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think we we are running out of time already.
Yeah. So thanks all. Let me close the session for today. We discussed about planning phase in detail. We discussed how what a BA does in the planning phase. We'll talk about analysis phase and rest of the phases in the next week's session. Yeah. And I hope at least this audience will join me again.
Sure. Shipra, are you planning something on day basis, like 30 minutes, 15-minute discussion?
No, it's practically not possible because of my day job, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
my day starts at 9 or 8 a.m. But when it ends, I cannot say. So
Okay.
it will be very difficult for me to plan something for the weekdays. And I think once a week is time that suits me as well as others.
No problem. No problem. Thank you so much for your time, Shipra. Thank you
Yeah,
for your advice, guidance, everything.
yeah. Thanks, Ola. Thanks, Roshan, and thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Um, Catch up with you next week. Thank you. Good night.
Great weekend to everyone. Bye bye. Good night.